All right, let's just get right into it. If you're a media business looking to scale into the Middle East and Southeast Asia, there is a massive 5-month revenue supercycle that's basically hiding in plain sight. Today, we're going to dive into that growth engine, the one sitting right between these two huge regions, Ramadan and Chinese New Year. But here's the thing. We're not talking about them as just, campaigns. We're talking about them as powerful economic systems. So let's break down what that actually means for your business.
So let's really put a frame on this opportunity, right? These aren't just cute little dates you circle on a marketing calendar. No. These represent fundamental, structural shifts in how your audience behaves, how they consume media, and most importantly for you business leaders out there, how brands have to spend their money to actually connect with them.
And just so we're clear, this is not some niche topic. To give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, Ramadan alone has an estimated $80 billion retail impact across the Middle East and North Africa. That's billion with a B. This is a massive, predictable, and frankly highly monetizable shift in consumer attention and spending.
Okay, so why are we talking about this right now? Well, what makes this so urgent is something that's happening in 2026. It's a rare calendrical event that's creating what I'm calling the Great Convergence. And it's something every single media leader needs to have on their radar, like today.
So in 2026, the calendar creates a perfect storm. Ramadan is projected to start around February 16th and go all the way to March 18th. Meanwhile, Chinese New Year kicks off on February 17th with celebrations running right through to March 10th. Do you see that? It means February 2026 isn't just a month, it's a budget traffic jam. It is a near-perfect overlap of the two biggest cultural and commercial seasons in these entire regions. And look, when two massive regions hit their peak consumption window at the exact same time, a few things are pretty much guaranteed to happen. CPMs, your cost of advertising, they're going to inflate way faster. The best, most premium inventory, it's going to sell out weeks, if not months, earlier than usual. And any team that goes into this without a rock-solid plan is going to get absolutely crushed. Let me put it simply. If you're planning in the month of, you're not planning. You're donating your margin. Period. This whole situation requires a fundamental mindset shift. We have to stop thinking about these as tactical one-off campaigns and start seeing them for what they are, seasonal business transformations. This demands moving from that last-minute scramble to long-term strategic planning. So to understand how to plan for this, we need to understand the two very different consumer operating systems at play here. Let's start with the first one. The unique daily rhythm of Ramadan. This is a huge blind spot for planners who are new to the region. During Ramadan, a lot of markets basically become nocturnal economies. Daily life just flips on its head. The most significant period of digital browsing, social engagement, and even online shopping happens late at night, usually in a window between about 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. This is a complete reversal of standard consumer behavior, and it makes those always-on media strategies incredibly inefficient. If you look at this, you can see how the day breaks down into these distinct emotional and energy shifts. There's a quieter period in the late afternoon, as energy levels dip before iftar, which is the breaking of the fast. But then after iftar, from about 8:15 p.m. onwards, boom, you see this huge spike in social activity, video viewing, and community engagement that lasts late into the night. Every single phase has its own unique mindset. This creates two dominant windows for media. First, you have the post-iftar peak, from around 8:15 p.m. to 1 a.m. This is all about entertainment, community, discovery. Think peak scrolling on TikTok and watching TV with your phone in hand. But then, there's the pre-Fajr window, from midnight until the early morning. This is quieter, more personal. It's a high-intent period for shopping, planning, researching big purchases. These two windows require totally different creative approaches and, honestly, totally different commerce strategies. This whole rhythm also completely changes how different platforms are used. Short-form video views can jump by like 1.35 times. Connected TV viewership spikes massively after iftar as families all gather around. And here's a pro tip. Audio inventory is often way underpriced in the weeks leading up to Ramadan. During the season itself, social commerce platforms pretty much become a bustling late-night mall. And crucially, creators are not just some add-on. They are the shortcut to cultural fluency and building trust. Okay, let's switch gears to our second system, which operates on a completely different timeline. If Ramadan is all about a daily rhythm, Chinese New Year is a multi-week emotional journey. It's a slow, strategic buildup, not a daily reset. The absolute key to understanding Chinese New Year is that it's a sequenced narrative. The consumer mindset moves through these distinct phases over several weeks. It starts with a feeling of reset and planning. Then it moves into reunion and family, peaks with gifting, and finally ends in celebration. You can't just drop a single campaign in the middle of all that and expect it to resonate. It won't work. So, a successful strategy has to mirror this journey. It starts as early as 8 weeks out with awareness content, things like zodiac themes, just planting those initial planning seeds. Then you move into a consideration phase, where creator partnerships and social proof become absolutely critical. The final 2 weeks before the holiday, that's your conversion window, when search intent peaks and you can create some urgency. And finally, the celebration phase is all about amplifying social sharing and community engagement. It's a long game. And that brings us to this. The planning lead time for these seasons is completely non-negotiable. For Ramadan, you need a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks to do it right. For the much longer arc of Chinese New Year, you really need to be thinking 8 to 12 weeks out. Anything less than that, and you're already behind the competition. So, what's the actionable playbook here for CEOs and business leaders? How do you take all this insight and actually turn it into a strategic advantage, especially with that 2026 convergence looming on the horizon? This right here is probably the single most important takeaway from this entire explainer. In this new landscape, your competitive edge is not your creative concept. It's your calendar discipline. The teams that win are going to be the ones that plan earlier and smarter. That's it.
So here are the non-negotiables for 2026. First, you have to treat these seasons as the complex operating systems they are. Second, commit to planning 8 to 12 weeks out, no exceptions. Third, you must have talent on the ground with deep regional and cultural knowledge. Fourth, creator partnerships need to be a core part of your strategy from day one, not an afterthought. And finally, view your first big push not just as a revenue driver, but as a case study. Invest in quality over quantity to build your reputation in these markets.
I'll leave you with this final thought. As you look towards 2026 and beyond, the fundamental question you have to ask your team is this. Are you simply planning another seasonal campaign, or are you truly engineering a money season? The difference between those two approaches is what will define the winners and the losers in the years to come.